I love that, and we're no longer going to call it history either. Her story.
Her story? Well, no, that's
fine. Their story.
No, this is be gendered neutral.
We'll just call it the past. We'll just call it the past.
So Berkeley's always at the forefront of these things when it comes to being politically correct. So there are a lot of people who may be rolling their eyes or criticizing this move by Berkeley there.
Yeah, well, consider it the past. We begin with the oppressive heat that's already gripping more than half the country.
Forecasters say the dangerously hot, humid conditions will break records and will likely last through the weekend. Watches and warnings have already been issued in at least 28 states, and the heat index or real fuel conditions will be well into the triple digits.
ABC's Mona co-star Abdi begins our coverage down in Washington. Mona, we saw it could feel like 113 degrees down there this weekend.
Oh, we are already in the thick of it, Janae, and that's thick with 2 C's. But in all seriousness, honestly, experts do say that the combination of the sunshine, the high temperatures, and the humidity can prove life-threatening, particularly for children and the elderly.
This morning, a dangerous and widespread heat wave spreading across much of the United States, leaving more than 170 million people exposed to the hottest weather of the summer. New York, Philadelphia, and the nation's capital already under a heat emergency.
New York City hasn't seen a 100-degree temperature since 2012. I really think we'll get close this weekend.
Meteorologists calling for D.C.'s feels-like temperatures to feel almost as hot as Death Valley. And in the upper Midwest, Milwaukee's mayor getting the word out about cooling stations.
We're very, very concerned about people with physical challenges. We're concerned about the elderly. We're concerned about children.
Meanwhile, emergency rooms are on alert, bracing for an influx of heat-related emergencies.
The heat is really something that can suffocate you. You could develop some symptoms, especially if you don't have a plan.
The heat and humidity already taking its toll on some summer campers in Newington, where 7 children were brought to the hospital because of dehydration and heat exhaustion.
It's very important to hydrate your children 2 hours before they go to an event.
The conditions particularly dangerous for outdoor workers. And although their work must go on, John Wydell of Superior Roofing in Chicago says they still try to take every precaution they can.
We let the guys take as many breaks as possible, myself included, make sure we have plenty of water with us up there.
And again, extreme heat can pose some serious safety concerns. So remember to stay hydrated. If you're thirsty, experts say you're already dehydrated. Also, you can find a cooling station. Some good places is your local library or maybe an indoor mall. And remember to check on your elderly neighbors. But Janae, Kenneth, can we even say heat? Should I say sheet?
I mean,
gender neutral?
Well, no, I can't say that one.
Yeah, don't say it too fast. Don't get fired.
You know, those are all great tips, Mona. I'm just thinking about down there in D.C. where it can get stifling hot. So have you seen any news reports where they're frying eggs yet? Because, you know, we like to do that in the news.
The eggs? Huh?
You know when people fry eggs on the sidewalk?
How hot it is,
fry
you can see,
eggs. I said flying eggs. What? Okay, yes. I might do that. I'm kind of hungry. I haven't had breakfast yet. So I'll go outside.
There you go.
Fair enough. Mona, thank you so much for joining us.
Stay cool.
You know, we were talking about this earlier, looking at things that cities around the country are doing, like in Madison, Wisconsin, the homeless shelters. They are not going to turn people away, even if they've reached capacity. There in D.C., where Mona is, the shelter is going to be open 24/7. They're going to keep pools open later. So lots of cities around the country will be making those adjustments to help people stay cool in this oppressive heat.
You got to take care of yourself, all humans, and the pets as well. So all things to look out for. Well, in other news, a judge is expected to decide today whether to grant bail to financier Jeffrey Epstein as he awaits trial on sex trafficking charges.
New details are emerging about Epstein's secret life on his private island in the Caribbean. A former contractor tells ABC News he saw groups of teen girls constantly visiting the island without supervision. He also says Epstein had peculiar habits like keeping stacks of brand new white polo shirts, wearing them only once, and then giving them to housekeepers to use as rags.
Also, new video has surfaced showing Donald Trump and Epstein partying with cheerleaders in 1992. The president recently said he, quote, wasn't a big fan of Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, now to President Trump stepping up his attacks on 4 minority congresswomen after saying they should go back to their countries.
Last night, he held his first campaign rally since the firestorm over his racist tweets, and he focused on one congresswoman who was born in Somalia, prompting the crowd to start chanting, "Send her back."
At his campaign rally in North Carolina, President Trump stepping up his attacks on 4 Democratic congresswomen.
Representative Ilhan Omar.
The crowd breaking into a chant of "Send her back," referring to Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, an American citizen who immigrated from Somalia as a child. It comes just 3 days after the president's racist tweet calling on the 4 lawmakers to go back to the countries they originally came from, even though Omar is the only one of the 4 not born in the United States.
If they don't love it, tell them to leave it. And now watch, I'll go back tonight. Oh, sir, that was so controversial. Sir. No, I'm just saying it's their choice. They can come back when they want. But, you know, they don't love our country.
Overnight, Omar responded by invoking Maya Angelou, tweeting, "You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise." But Trump supporters at the rally told our Terry Moran the president's tweet was about patriotism and not race baiting.
Do you think what he said was racist?
No, I think he would have said the same thing about them if they were white or any other color.
Go back to your own country.
Yeah. He was referring to their beliefs, not their color.
Meanwhile, back on Capitol Hill, the House has rejected a Texas Democrat's effort to impeach the president. Leading Democrats say they're waiting to hear former special counsel Robert Mueller's testimony first before deciding to take any action. Mueller will answer questions from lawmakers about his investigation into the Trump campaign and Russian meddling in the election. And one other development we're following from Washington, the House has voted to hold the Attorney General and the Commerce Secretary in criminal contempt of Congress for blocking an investigation into the census. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross called it silly political theater. In the meantime, former drug lord El Chapo may already be inside the federal supermax prison in Colorado, where he'll serve his life sentence.
Among those already doing time at the prison are Oklahoma City bombing conspirator Terry Nichols and Unabomber Ted Kaczynski. Before being led away, El Chapo told the judge he was denied a fair trial, and he called conditions in jail total torture.
Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes has picked up a victory in court. A judge has given the FDA 75 days to produce thousands of documents that her lawyers say they need to defend Holmes against fraud charges. She's accused of bilking investigators in her tech firm out of billions of dollars. A man who spent 2 decades in prison for a crime he did not commit was finally allowed to walk free.
Christopher Tapp was exonerated in 1996 rape and murder of an Idaho teenager after new DNA testing showed he did not match the evidence from the crime scene. Now another man has been charged with the murder, and Tapp is looking forward to a second chance at life.
It's a new life, a new beginning, a new world for me. And I'm just going to enjoy it every day, but I will still continue doing what I've been doing, going to work and living the life that I should have been living for the last 22 and a half years.
Tapp had a message for the public after all these years. He said he hopes no one ever forgets Angie Dodge, the victim in the case.
Well, encouraging news in the opioid crisis. Drug overdose deaths dropped by 5% last year. That's the first drop since the 1990s. But experts remain cautious, saying that government data is only preliminary. Instagram is trying to reduce the pressure to post.
The company is expanding its test of a new feature that will hide the number of likes to everyone but the poster. The idea is to reduce feelings about low self-esteem and inadequacy, especially in young people. A recent British study found that Instagram is the most hurtful social networking app for young people's mental health. And a special guest dropped by the Obama Foundation's Chicago headquarters.
Who other than the namesake himself, the former president? Look at that, surprised 13 teenagers who just couldn't contain their excitement, taking part in the organization's Youth Job Corps program. The teens thought they were supposed to be talking about their experiences with some of the foundation's top officials. How about the top official? One said she was determined not to cry in front of Mr. Obama.
And a piece of advice he gave to those young people is it's okay to make smart failures.
Smart failures, love that. Up next, the house that was for sale for just $10. Why no one bought it.
Plus, the so-called invasion being planned at Area 51. We'll visit a small town in Nevada feeling the pressure. Next.
Woman in Tennessee found out bears don't just climb trees. She was eating oatmeal on her balcony when that bear decided it wanted a taste. So So look there, you see the mad dash for her to get inside, and she shut the door just as that bear made it onto the deck. Fast bear, faster woman.
That bear just climbed so fast.
So fast.
And I knew they were climbers, but he just is like scooted up there real quick.
Yeah, really. He was like, "You home? You home?
And
okay, I'm coming.
I'm coming.
And
I'm coming." And
he made his way up. Wow.
And also that view there. And
is incredible. In Gatlinburg,
Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee.
Well, meanwhile, a woman in Lake Tahoe kept the camera rolling as a bear tried to break into her cabin. Yep, it managed to stick its nose through an open window. A police officer later scared that bear away.
Go!
Go! You hear it yelling. Well, a house hunting bargain and a New Jersey slipped through everyone's fingers.
The 4,000 square foot home in Montclair, built in 1906, was listed for just $10, but the buyer would have had to move the house from the property and pay a hefty price for the location.
Yeah, that's because of a previous deal with the developer. So now the house has been demolished. They got to pay for relocation and also move it.
Montclair's a really nice area.
It's a big feat, though. It's a beautiful home.
Yeah, man.
How are the bones? You always got to be concerned about how the bones are.
These bones. Old bones. Next to the Facebook event, getting the attention of the U.S. military. More than 1 million people have signed up to storm Area 51, the top secret base in Nevada that some say is home to alien secrets.
Many people are calling the Facebook event the biggest joke in the galaxy. But the town near the base and the U.S. Air Force, they are not laughing.
This morning, a tiny town in the dusty desert preparing for invasion.
I hope there's not that many people that are saying they're going to be here.
People all over the world are asking about Rachel, Nevada, a 15-minute drive from Area 51.
Our phones have been ringing off the hook.
There's a restaurant, one bar, and the only hotel called Little Ali Inn has only 13 rooms.
Is a full-size bed okay for the two of you?
Now the town with a population of only 56 is buzzing.
1 million said they were interested, and another 1 million said that they were coming.
It all started nearly a month ago when someone organized an event on Facebook inviting people to storm Area 51 on September 20th to, quote, see them aliens, adding if enough people turn up, there won't be enough guards to stop everyone from getting in. The base is considered a fortress of government secrets. The gag, seen as a joke at first, has attracted real-world enthusiasts, with 1.5 million people signing up. The event getting more attention this week when rapper Lil Nas X posted a meme with an alien and released an animated music video featuring Area 51.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more.
But the Air Force is not seeing the funny side, issuing a new warning that the military is ready to protect America and its assets.
Why can't it be possible?
No one knows how many people will show up September 20th. For the residents of Rachel, a town full of believers, all they can do is wait.
All we can do is what we can do. Nothing more, nothing less.
So this plane has been traced back to 3 anonymous Facebook pages. The Air Force says it discourages anyone from coming to an area where armed forces are trained. So we just had a little debate. That story is crazy, and it's really one of our favorite of the morning. But,
it is.
So the hotel, I will admit that it was like a light bulb moment when I was like, oh, Alien Inn.
Oh, wait, he's not even telling you the whole story. He only got it after I heard it and laughed, and he was like, well, wait, why did she get it?
Why did she get it? So I thought it was like, when I voiced the story, I said, oh, a little Alien Inn, or then I was like, oh, so is it Alien or Alien?
A-L-E-N. The alien.
You say I say a.
That's our question of the day. What do you think it is? Comment below. Tweet us at ABC News Live.
All right, so moving on, an attempt to get a great picture almost led to a disaster in Hawaii.
A couple swept out to sea at a lookout in Honolulu. They were taking photos when the tide moved them farther and farther from shore. Experts say tourists need to be careful when they're in the waves, and that perfect shot may not be worth it.
People tend to want to get that picture and end up getting swept out into the ocean. For us to respond, it takes time. They're not at a guarded beach where we can respond right away and get to them.
The rescue team pulled the couple from the ocean. They're both expected to be okay. The picture definitely not worth it now if everybody else can't even see how many likes you got.
So I was on the, that's very true. I was on the North Shore of Hawaii once, and the waters are really, really rough. And I thought, I'm not going to go too far out because it
you got your ankles wet?
Got the ankles. Yeah, lotion them up.
That's enough. So we spoke earlier about the extreme heat across much of the country today, and people aren't the only ones bracing for the heat, but pets are too.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier. Our own Will Gantz went to North Shore Animal League America to dig up the details on how to keep pets cool for the summer.
In these dog days of summer, there are some things you just can't plan.
So if you are going to be outside with your pets, and you're going to be getting real wet with your pets,
but on the other hand, or paw, there are things you should anticipate to keep your pets safe this summer. Dr. Gerard Lahaney at North Shore Animal League America teaching us the tricks to make sure your four-legged friends stay cool for the summer. Dr. L says first things first.
You have to know your dog. Not every dog can tolerate the heat like every other dog. So your brachycephalic breeds and the ones with the short noses.
Like pugs or Frenchies.
Your dogs with medical conditions. Older geriatric dogs, overweight dogs, they can't tolerate the heat. And they can overheat very quickly.
But how do you know if they are overheating?
And understand the signs. The excessive panting, difficulty recovering, and then onto things like vomiting and diarrhea, ataxia, where they become wobbly. Know that you have a situation on your hands that you need to address that.
At that point, cool your dog off with water and call your vet. Lucky for us, Dr. L says it's pretty easy to prevent all of that. His tips? Always supervise your pets when they're outside. Give them plenty of shade, clean water to drink and play in, like these kiddie pools, and never leave your pet in the car. And if your dog does want to go for a walk, early mornings and late evenings are best.
We would recommend that people actually place your hand on the pavement first. Most recommendations I've seen has been anywhere between 5 and 7 seconds. If you can leave your hand on the asphalt for that period of time, then it's probably safe for your pet.
Or you can give them some fashionable booties.
Oh no!
And one more doggone detail.
Your pet can get a sunburn?
Oh yes, we definitely recommend sunscreen. Don't use the one that you're using on yourself. Get one that's actually labeled for a pet.
There you have it. Here's to a paw-fixed summer day with your best friend.
And a final summer safety tip: if you're going to be boating this summer, Dr. Lahaney says the most likely member of your family to jump out of a moving boat, your dog. So get him a little life jacket because it's safe and it'll be cute.
And generally you don't expect dad or like your sister to just jump out of the boat.
No, not at all.
Right. So officials in West Palm Beach, Florida are using a shark to try to solve a homeless situation.
So they're trying to keep people from sleeping in a park across from a high-end banquet hall. The plan is to play a continuous loop of 2 children's songs, Baby Shark and Raining Tacos, all night to keep homeless people away by annoying them.
Musical aversion therapy is only considered a temporary fix. And you know, this sounds kind of like a cute, funny story because you hear Baby Shark there, but
it's mean, right?
It seems very mean-spirited because there could be more effort towards an initiative that actually helps those homeless people.
Right.
Instead of spending energy on this.
Exactly.
So.
Well said.
Yep. Well, time to check our notifications. Starting with a great way to explore nature and win yourself free beer for life.
Anheuser-Busch has announced a promotion for Busch Light, saying it will build a pop-up bar in a national forest somewhere in the U.S. on Saturday.
Somewhere. And the person who finds the bar will win free Busch Light for the rest of their life.
And from free beer to ice cold beer, a boy in Utah is reminding everyone to read the fine print. The 11-year-old held a sign reading ice cold beer for sale.
And the stand caught the attention of neighbors and police, but if you look closely, the word root is written very small above the beer. One officer called the marketing ploy brilliant and says the boy's business is booming.
And next, the German Shepherd that's become an internet star. Joe Corsi posted this video on Facebook. A motion detector on his security camera picked up something.
The camera turns and see what that something is? Corsi's German Shepherd, Sasha, curiously staring into the camera, trying to figure out, you're on duty or is it me? Who's protecting the house, huh?
Had a scheduling conflict. All right, well, up next, she's Not even 5 feet tall, but Dr. Ruth is a giant. She's been giving advice on sex for decades on TV and radio.
And now a new documentary is giving us an intimate portrait of the legendary sex therapist. ABC's Lindsay Davis has it all.
You wanted to make sure, you said you wanted to show me this, the sex for dummies.
Of course.
Is that a message for me?
I could see how your face lit up.
Dr. Ruth can still talk about sex morning, noon, and night.
I can look at people and I know if they've had good sex or not.
With her distinctive accent.
Let's agree to disagree and let's have good, terrific sex.
And diminutive frame. Dr. Ruth Westheimer is a pioneer.
And then let him insert his penis into the vagina from behind.
The 91-year-old has been America's most famous and trusted sex therapist for generations.
I would like us all together to bury you right here, is that withdrawal method is a method of contraception. Hello?
Her life story is now a documentary on Hulu. Ask Dr. Ruth.
Before I started to do television, the most important thing for me was education.
An in-depth look at the woman who's talked openly about sex for decades. It all began with her radio show, Sexually Speaking, in 1982.
I do hope that you do masturbate, that you bring yourself to sexual satisfaction.
Did you realize in the moment how groundbreaking what you were doing was?
I did realize that nobody talked about orgasm, nobody talked about premature ejaculation. I did not realize of how successful the radio program was. It's good that I didn't realize. Maybe I would have been more uptight if I had known that everybody listened to me Sunday nights from 10 to 12. I say don't just engage indiscriminately.
Her willingness to talk publicly about what many had limited to private pillow talk launched her into the mainstream.
I've never heard women tell the truth about sex before in public in my life.
Unafraid to discuss difficult subjects, she was one of the first people to use her platform to address the AIDS epidemic.
It was a very unpopular topic because gay people at the time, not only were they a minority, they were despised.
With all she has accomplished, she says it's life itself that's been the greatest gift.
Thing you're most proud of?
Yes, 4 grandchildren. Hitler is dead and my grandchildren are alive and are very successful.
For Nightline, I'm Lindsay Davis in New York.
Incredible woman who did incredible work, and so great of Lindsay to bring us that story.
Yeah, no one like Dr. Ruth there.
No.
Well, up next, 50 years since the Apollo 11 mission, we look at the cameras that beamed those images from the moon.
And just how groundbreaking they really were, coming up. Finally, 50 years after the Apollo 11 mission, and we're learning just how groundbreaking some of their equipment was.
ABC's Maggie Rulli reports the cameras that sent those images back from the moon were as much of a technical achievement as the flight itself.
Very, very fine-grained as you get close to it.
On July 20th, 1969, more than 500 million people had their eyes glued on astronaut Neil Armstrong.
As I recall, the picture was not very good. It was very snowy, and I think I can remember seeing movement in the snow on the television and saying, there he is.
A grainy video that changed the course of history. But to capture those famous first steps, it took a mechanical marvel.
This is the tiny black and white television camera that will bring us the first live pictures of astronauts from the moon's surface.
Back in 1969, legendary ABC News correspondent Jules Bergman gave us a close-up look.
This little black and white camera weighs 7¼ pounds, built by Westinghouse to NASA standards.
Simply named the Apollo Lunar Television Camera. It was mounted on the descent stage of the lunar module and pointed out.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
That giant leap then relayed live to NASA and TV viewers all over the world. According to NASA, this was just one of many custom-built cameras needed, including 2 motion picture film cameras and perhaps most iconic, a 70mm Hasselblad camera. Attached to Armstrong as he walked on the moon, it was responsible for these up-close shots of the moon's surface, equipped with special film developed by Kodak to work in the moon's atmosphere. Today, one of those cameras is on display at the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C., where anyone can take a look at this feat of engineering that still inspires us 50 years later. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
All right, we'll stay with ABC News Live throughout the day for all your breaking news. We'll have the latest on that deadly fire at an animation studio in Japan.
And we'll bring you the judge's ruling on whether to grant bail in the Jeffrey Epstein case. So that's it for us for now. Have a great day.